Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and this right here is my de facto dispatch farming team. Other teams have come and gone, and there are variations, but this one in my mind is the most consistent for just jumping to stage 10 and just farming out, clapping out a bunch of missions, which is more important now than ever because of all of the event quests that require you to farm dispatch daily. On top of the other rewards that dispatch can give you, we also have the seasonal events that will drop specific things like the ice cream cones and the snowmen that you can then use for crafting. So dispatch is, never going to be less important than it is right now, and it's probably going to grow in importance as time passes. So establishing a really good dispatch team is super important, but nowadays, and for the last little while, I've had so much Pierce that maybe I've forgotten how difficult dispatch really is. So now, with my run-of-the-mill average cards, can this team still clear a stage that I've come to clear in my sleep? No, literally, I go to sleep with this stage being cleared, and I wake up and it's cleared. It takes me about 2 minutes, so bear with me here on this one, but we're just going to auto run 10-1 here right now and see. The builds are exactly the same. I've got a CTP of Rage on Valkyrie, and I've got a CTP of Rage on Loki. We've got a CTP of Insight on Black Cat with her artifact, and we're just going to see if they can even clear this stage at all. Because we did say, and a lot of the testing did indicate, that Pierce is not necessarily needed for dispatch. You just need to stack a bunch of all defense down. But in my testing that I've done recently for characters, especially in World Boss Ultimate, it's really that you need to have one or the other. If you don't have a ton of Pierce, like 15% or more, then you have to be able to consistently apply 70% defense down or higher. 60 may be the minimum for certain characters. I know Daredevil is quite good at dispatch, and his tier 3 has a baseline, I believe, of -60. They're doing really well right now, but that's basically what my testing, my sort of rewind in time testing, is showing me, is that Pierce was doing the job, or sort of does the job, of having a bunch of all defense down, which if you don't have one, you need the other for most content. But in this case, for dispatch, you might just need to have the all defense down regardless, because if they clear this, let me tell you right now, I'm not looking at the time, so it's going to be a surprise to me as well, but if they clear this, let's say in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds versus the 2-minute clear that they were doing before, then the Pierce basically has nothing to do with it, because those 30 seconds would just be the difference of losing 50% all attack, which is huge, and losing crit rate, crit damage, that sort of thing, right? I made sure that Loki and Valkyrie are still capped on dodge for their CTPs of Rage, so that's not a worry there. But really, I think that's what it's going to come down to. Now, if they don't clear the stage at all, if they fail, then that would be an indication that Pierce definitely is required in some amount for dispatch, for higher dispatch stages. Maybe I would say starting from Sector 9, maybe 10. I definitely think you need some Pierce beyond Sector 10, like for Sector 11 and 12. But I haven't really run those stages, and I don't farm those stages consistently. I farm this stage consistently. So this is what I'm using as my barometer. And I can tell you, no doubt in my mind, a minute 40 is my baseline for my old cards with 100% all attack and 25 or 22% Pierce. That was the baseline. So we'll see how much slower this team is from that minute 40 baseline. I'm so curious. I'm so curious to click. I just gotta touch the screen once and I can see the time. Okay, so they cleared it. That's really good. That's really, really good. That's amazing. They cleared it. Now, how long did it take? 2:17. Wow. Okay, I know this is gonna sound like I'm making a big deal out of it, but they're only 37 seconds slower. So think about this now. Only 37 seconds slower than my old cards, which had twice as much all attack, right? From 50% all attack to 100% all attack, and from 0% Pierce to 25% Pierce, and they're only 37 seconds slower. That's insane. So when someone tells you there's no way you could clear dispatch without Pierce, you need Pierce for dispatch, you're like, I hate to tell you that you're wrong, but you're wrong. Now, you may need this team specifically. I'm not saying that you can just slap on any old goofy team and you can clear dispatch, but you should definitely be doing your best to clear dispatch, because I really cannot tell you how important this game mode is. On top of everything I said earlier about, you know, event quest tokens and seasonal events and crafting, there's another part of Dispatch that sort of just gets lost in the mix, and I've thought about making a separate video for it, but I'll just try to do a condensed version right now to explain it. But basically, not only do you want to clear as far as you can in Dispatch, right? You want to clear as far as you can. You want to unlock as many sectors as you can because of those passive rewards. The passive rewards when you're setting your characters, this screen right here is so important, because if you can set your characters, and as you build your account, your characters will get stronger, so your growth score, your growth grade on all of the sectors will go up, right? 24, 22, 20, 19. So I don't expect your growth grades to be the same as mine, because your characters, you know, you haven't been playing for 7 years like I have, right? Like, I know my growth grades are quite high, but you do want to focus on that by unlocking as many sectors as you can, and then placing characters, like filling out this, like, don't leave any spots open, right? I don't know why it says cannot dispatch. I'm not sure why it says that for some of those characters, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you don't want to leave any of the spots empty, because that's taking away, like, for example, if this one was empty, look at that. I just went from 18 down to from 19 down to 18. That's huge, and that will affect the passive amount of gold that you're farming, right? I'm farming 255 gold per minute. On some of these, you can see 270 gold per minute. On this one, I'm at 270. There's a cap for it. I think 270 is the cap. So I could actually redistribute some of these so that they're all higher than they are. But this is really important. It not only impacts the amount of gold that you're farming, it also impacts the amount of energy that you farm when you're clicking through these, because if the energy drops, I can tell you right now, it's going to give you a larger amount. So I'm actually not going to get any. There we go, 18 energy. And so if you collect this a few times a day, this amounts to not only millions of gold, but hundreds of energy. And then that cascades into other content. And so I'm saying this now for those of you watching, because maybe your cards, you thought that's what was holding you back from doing Dispatch. Oh, my cards aren't good enough. I don't have any Pierce. You 100% don't need Pierce. Now, this team is very, very fine-tuned for sure, but Valkyrie and Loki are fairly easy to get. And yeah, 2 CTPs of Rage is really, really nice, but you at least want 1 on Loki. So Valkyrie's a little bit of a toss-up. Black Hat, on the other hand, is definitely more expensive. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to test out other options, because yes, her uniform is paid, which is kind of a bummer. On top of that, I also have a 6-star version of her artifact, which is pretty much unobtainable for players who are not super lucky or also spending a considerable amount of money on the game to do those bingo boards twice a year. So let's see if a White Fox led team can do the same thing. Okay, so here we go. We're moving into the last phase of the fight, where we see the boss Colossus. I, again, have no idea how much time has elapsed here. I was reading some Twitter posts about the Toronto Maple Leafs while this was farming in the background. I have a strange feeling that they're going to clear it. I don't know if it's just my sort of cautious optimism, but for those of you wondering why I chose White Fox, because Loki's not a hero, White Fox's lead gives you 40% increased debuff effect. And so although I know this is also a seasonal uniform, you can basically extrapolate this, if they can clear, to other leaderships and other effects like Dr. Voodoo's lead. And then in White Fox's case, she is given quite a few buffs to Valkyrie. So although Valkyrie doesn't do nearly as much damage as Loki, you do have that to look forward to. And then if you were really desperate, like if you couldn't clear this for whatever reason, or if my team fails, you could always manually play Loki, or switch to TVA Loki and manually play that as well, because I think manually played TVA Loki will absolutely be able to clear this even faster than his President Loki on auto. But I think President Loki is better on auto. So yeah, they do clear it. So this is crazy. 239. So yeah, you could probably still do this with Dr. Voodoo lead. Again, you may have to manually control at the end of the fight, for example. Like, you may not have to manually play the whole dispatch mission, but you may have to jump in and play as Loki for that last leg of the fight versus Colossus, because he has so much HP and you want to line up, you know, those procs and line up all that damage to burst it out. But wow, I'm really surprised. This is a really good piece of news. And for any of you watching that were worried or concerned about you know, dispatch, or you were sort of putting it off, putting it on the back burner because it's too difficult and you need this and you need that, I would say just go for it. Build these characters and really go for it, and then strongly consider picking up either Black Cat or White Fox, because they just make your life a lot easier in dispatch. Of course, like I said, you could just equip Voodoo, who's a free, completely free character with the same leadership as as White Foxes, and then you could just you could possibly clear 10-1, but you could absolutely definitely clear 9-1. So at the very least, you should be at least that far in your dispatch mission, even if you just have average run-of-the-mill cards. That's why we tell everyone under the sun to tier 3 Loki as soon as they can, because he is just that busted. I mean, he can, frankly, with Pierce, he can solo dispatch in stage in sector 9 and 10. He can literally do it by himself. So yeah, that should tell you all you need to know. But now you also know what you need to just do it. So Nike, you know? So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. I'm really happy with this test and this sort of rewind, because dispatch, like I said, is just so important. It's more important, I would say, than Multiverse Invasion, aka the old co-op. But I still think, and I do think, that it gets swept under the rug, and people just, you know, for one reason or another, they get it in their head they can't do it because they need Pierce. So I think this is a really good showcase that it's absolutely not the case, and that you can absolutely do it. And I want you to crush it to just get more passive rewards, baby, because those are the best kind. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of their production. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.